This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. There we go. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And welcome to this episode, this hectic beginning of an episode of the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. And this is Tiffy Tuesday.
Hey, John.
Live in the studio this time.
Live in the studio. It feels so good to be back here in your little town here.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
But don't call it my town. I'm just passing through. Well,
how are you doing, John? It's been a while since I've been back in the studio. How are you doing?
You know, it's a bittersweet kind of thing. I'm feeling good. Knocking out some good episodes of the podcast. I got some good music gigs going on. A new writing thing. I actually got asked to play bass on a solo project for another.
Very
I've never
fun.
been asked to play bass. So this is cool. But I'm tired. I'm still tired. I have this feeling of being worn out. I need to step back and take a break. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I think you do. I've noticed you've been quite ambitious lately.
Well, and ambition is good. I have to do it. I have to keep moving. It's not like it's not like a situation of haste. It's not that, but I feel a certain amount of urgency to get things done. So I'm rolling with it.
Hey, don't fight it.
No.
Don't fight it.
Yeah. So at the same time as I say I'm tired and I need a break, I am enjoying myself.
That's the important thing.
It's a good kind of tired. I've gotten a lot done, and I'm allowed to be tired.
It's the accomplishment exhaustion. Yeah. And that is a good feeling.
Yeah. Accomplishment exhaustion. Okay.
It is. It's accomplishment exhaustion. It is. I've been through that. Like I told you on the way over here that I spent my entire summer still doing more school.
Yeah, school.
School, baby. So
at the young age of
none of your fucking business.
I love it.
Yeah. But for me on my side, I've just been kind of like swallowed up in this abyss of despair, John, because I also was telling you in the car, I'm in my very last year of university. Yeah. And so after this, I have to move out of mom's basement and finally be a big girl.
This will be a bachelor's degree.
This is another bachelor's degree.
Another.
Yes.
And this is a bachelor's degree in
IT.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a computer nerd.
So it's not something you can just fake your way through. You've got to.
No, I've totally faked my way the entire
Well, we were talking about that in the sense that, the lectures, meeting up for the lectures, you can get your way around that. But what I'm saying is you can't fake your way through the knowledge. You've got to know.
Yeah. No,
you have to learn the material.
You got to learn the material in order to pass the exam. Yeah. But no, I haven't stepped foot in a classroom since before the coronavirus. Let's just say that. So I'm not blaming the coronavirus for my absence in class. It's just the distance.
So you that's right. It's a bit of a...
It's like an hour drive one way. Yeah. And it's not worth it for like an hour class on a Tuesday, So I just sit...
how many days a week would you have to meet up if you were meeting up?
Well, right now, I stupidly decided to take 6 classes this semester. So I would have to meet up like every goddamn day, I think, and probably try to be in 2 places at once to complete one class. So, yeah. So not meeting up, doing it, getting what you can online, making sure you have the reading material, and then you just do things at your pace. Yeah, you're giving me too much credit, my friend. I have not also purchased a book since the first semester. So
how's that work?
Well, I'm studying IT, my friend. I'm studying IT. If I can't figure out how to learn how to program a computer from a computer, what the fuck am I doing?
So in the curriculum then, for example, it says you've got to learn how to program A, B, and C, and then you just go online and you
just get self-taught. Yeah,
you study it up.
I studied it up. So I'm like, and not only that, but some of the techniques that they use in the class are like, I remember getting a Java tutor because I had to learn Java, and he says, "Man, we haven't done this technique in like 20 years. This is so obsolete." So most of the things I'm learning in school are obsolete before I even get into the job market.
I'm just thinking how that would go. Let's say I wanted to be a lawyer and then I'm not going to meet up for any of the lectures. Mm-hmm. I would watch like My Cousin Vinny.
Right.
Watch old Matlock episodes. and then just show up for the exam and probably do just fine.
You can't handle the truth. That'll be your exam, my friend.
So I stand corrected. You can fake your way through a college level.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Man, I've done it twice. I faked my way through school the entire time, but it's not the school that I'm worried about, and that's not what's swallowing me into this giant abyss of despair, like I mentioned.
Talk to us.
It's the fact that I'm going to graduate this year, and after I graduate, I have to get a home. I mean, I'm a single mom. I'm an immigrant in this country. I'm living in my friend's basement. Or let's just say I'm renting a room. Let's make it sound more fancy.
Really?
I'm renting. You? Yeah, I'm renting a room.
I knew you were renting, but I thought it was like a whole.
Oh, hell to the no. No, I'm renting in a basement apartment. You know, I'm a grown-ass woman of an age none of your fucking business. But I am a grown-ass woman with a child. I'm a single mom, and I'm trying to go to school, and I'm trying to make it. And so I started looking, you know, on the different apps and stuff where you can find homes and all that. And I remember when I first moved to this country about 13 years ago, you know, you can get a one-bedroom apartment for about 700,000 kroner, which a kroner to US dollar is about 10 to 1. So if it was 700,000, then 70,000 kroner, I could get a decent one-bedroom apartment with a bathroom. But now that's not the case in this little town that I live in. Now you have to put, you know, it's like a 2 million kroner, $200,000 for a one-bedroom bathroom apartment.
And then there's that huge amount of cash you have to come up with.
20%. 20% of 2 million is too fucking much for a single mother who just got fresh out of school. So that's the topic I want to talk about today, the housing market and how it's impossible for students coming out of school or even people who are not going to school, but they're coming into adulthood, the millennials that people want to bash on and why they're still living at their parents' house, at mom and dad's house. There's a fucking reason because...
It's totally understandable.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. I mean, buying a house is just not feasible now with the affordability gap that has been going on over the past several decades. It's gone worse because the housing market, the prices of houses have gone up, but the wages have not really, not to match the housing market.
No, they haven't. It seems like it's just gotten more and more difficult. I've been here for 20 years, 18 years in Norway. And luckily for Snoopy and I, we got in the market when when it was easy to get into the market.
Right.
I don't remember the details, but I know they didn't require 20% to get a house loan. And I definitely know that the prices were significantly lower than what they are now. So you got more house for the money. So we had a relatively easy. I mean, we slid right into the housing market.
You must have done that before 2008, I think.
This was in, I want to say we bought our first home. We came here in 2002, lived with her parents for a while. I believe it was in 2004.
Yeah. See, it's got to be before 2008 because once 2008 hit and that whole housing market just burst and everything got fucked up for absolutely everybody, then the banks started tightening their lending regulations. And they started to do that to reduce risks to themselves. But in order to do that, they have to now force us to put the 20% down payment, which I did some research on the train on the way up here. And the National Association of Realtors in the United States, they did an assessment of college grads in 2020, this year. The college grads in 2020 without debt, the ones that didn't take up the student loans, the ones that are not burdened by the nastiness of student loans these days.
There's not that many of them, I would assume.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine there were many of them. But they said that it would take them an average of 7.6 years to accumulate the 20% down payment on an average home.
7.6 years.
7.6 years to save up.
So you graduate college, let's say you're 22, 23 years old.
Right.
You cannot expect to safely and securely buy a home until you're almost 30 or 30.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. But then they also did a study on the college students that had student debt. That would be me. You know, I have student debt. So they said that would take those students 4 more years on top of the 7.6 years.
So now we're up in 33, 34 years old before you can get into the market.
Before you can even get in the market. And that's if you were smart enough to save your money in the 20s. And let me tell you about my 20s, John. That is it's a whole different ball game. I did not save a fucking penny. I was out doing stupid shit, traveling the world and trying to live life while because youth is for the young, it should be.
Is this why, and I don't have any stats on it, but I do know that the average age for first-time parents is significantly higher than it was just 15 years ago.
Roger that.
I wonder if that's why. I mean, if you're not secure in your housing, in other words, if you're still renting, to me, there's so much uncertainty in that. I wouldn't feel safe starting a family.
Right. And this is a completely different ballgame. Like you said, it's people are waiting longer to start families. There are many, many factors that can go into that, not just housing. It could be also
But it's a big part of it.
It's a huge part of it, because I know that I wouldn't purposely start a family if I was still renting or whatever. But, sometimes shit happens. So whatever.
It was a dark Saturday night.
A couple of tequilas later, and shit happens. I get that. I'm not blaming anybody for that. I've been there, done that, living the life. So, but also it also has the factors that women. Women have a little more rights these days, so we're not so reliable on men. So we don't have to get married to your ass. Like right now, I'm in a happy relationship, and we will never get married. We agreed that with each other.
That already.
We talked about it. You know how whenever you first get in love and you start talking about your future, and I said, honey, I hope you never want to marry me. And he goes, Oh, baby, you were the one. You were the one for me, because marriage to me is just absolutely. I mean, no offense to you. You're a married man, but it just seems like it's an antiquated.
But I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. Well, in a different sense, I don't have a problem with commitment, and I don't have a problem with solidifying that commitment with the symbolic thing called marriage. But that's really all it is.
But it's not. No, the fuck, it's not symbolic, sir.
Really?
It is a legal goddamn contract. It's a contract. You sign it. You get it notarized, right? You have to have 2 witnesses, and you sign it. It's a legal binding contract.
Maybe symbolic is the wrong word, but I guess the
ring is symbolic.
That whole legal thing pales in importance when compared to that commitment that is made between the two.
I get that. But there's also, like I say, there's women's liberation. Like now we know we can leave if we want to. If the relationship goes bad, we do have places to go, and we're not stuck in it.
That hasn't always been the case.
Right, because back in the 50s, or 30s or whatever.
Going up into the
70s even, some women couldn't get jobs, and they were like,
even into the 80s.
We got to stick with this marriage, because how am I going to feed my kids? So it's different now, because now we can just look at you and you're like, listen, you're a fuck stick. I'm out of here. Have fun with whatever the fuck you're doing over here. But I got my things to do, and life is meant to be lived. So women, that's another factor, but also the housing market, because like I said, I'm a single mom, and without another income.
Are you scared? Are you scared?
I'm not scared. I'm pissed.
Okay.
I'm pissed.
Explain that.
I'm going to explain that, because I find it completely ridiculous and unfair that they make the housing market. I mean, like, what kind of... I have dreams, right? I have dreams. I want to do all kinds of things, but to have a roof over your head, why does that have to be a dream? Shouldn't that just be a given, that at one point in your life you're going to find a home and it's going to be affordable? And speaking about affordable, let's get to that point. Why are these houses not affordable? It's because of the housing bubbles and all this stupid marketing. The supply and demand of it all.
I think it's fair to say that it's because of corruption among the bankers. There's a certain amount of corruption. There's a certain amount of callousness and self-interest. And some people will just say, well, hey, that's capitalism. Well, if it's capitalism, then that aspect of capitalism sucks, because it does nothing for the overall society. It does something for the bankers and the investors, but for the people, it does
It hurts us.
It hurts. Yeah.
And not only that, but whenever the housing bubbles do burst, and suddenly the interest rates go low, And now it's a buyer's market, right?
Yeah,
When it's a buyer's market, I'm like, oh yeah, let me look.
Maybe there's a chance.
Maybe there's a chance. But no, it's all these goddamn house flippers that come and they buy up all the houses. And what they do is they make a shit house that I can afford. I don't care if there's leaks and stuff. I can fix it.
Sure.
But they go ahead and fix it and make it more expensive. So by the time people like me can afford to buy the house, they've already prettied it up, gentrified a neighborhood.
I was just going to say, that's exactly what gentrification is.
That
I
is
was arguing
gentrification.
with some people online about that last week. You can't be callous to that phenomenon called gentrification. It ruins people. It ruins a huge segment of society. It just locks them out of any type of advancement.
Any type of advancement, and outside of the society that they live in too, because now we have to move further and further out into fucking BFE, and now we can't get to work because we're the poor people who don't have the car to get all the way into town or whatever. So it's really fucking expensive to be poor.
By the way?
I do have a car, but it's a lease. I don't own it.
Okay.
And the reason why I leased this particular car is because my school is quite far and we have tolls all the way, and I'm poor.
Yeah.
So I had to lease an electric car. So I didn't, here in Norway, at least at the time, for the time being, if you have an electric car, then you don't get charged any tolls on the highway.
Yeah.
And so if I would have driven a gas guzzler or any kind of regular fuel-based car,
That's right.
yeah, it would have cost me like $30 every day.
That's actually a dumb question. I know you have a car. We've talked about you having to
take the drain.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, John. Good morning. Okay, now how different is the? Do you know how different the housing situation is with prices, with availability, with difficulty, comparing Norway and the States?
I do, and guess what?
What can you tell me about that?
It is exactly the fucking same. I'm wondering if it's just it's a global market. If the housing is, I don't know if there's any economy students that want to talk about this or whatever later on. They can make a comment on the website johnallenpod.com. Make a comment if you know why the housing market just keeps getting more blown up and more out of reach for younger people, or I'm not young, but people who are coming out of school and trying to be.
She's young.
Trying to know what they're going to be when they grow up, once they figure out, and they're ready for life and ready to move out. People like me who don't have an inheritance from parents, or, I come from a long line of poor people. None of us has gotten an inheritance the whole way down.
That is very good that you mentioned that. I wanted to bring that up, the whole thing about inheritance or family money. And I think that explains something that I and Snoopy have always wondered about for years, going way back to when we were first looking for a home here in Norway, and we were seeing people our age or younger with just a percentage of the income that she and I had.
Right.
And they were buying these big old spreads.
Oh, bitch.
And we always wondered why, but I think it's that inheritance.
It's got to be inheritance. I know that you, Snoopy, because me and Snoopy bonded over these goddamn TV shows. But I know Snoopy watches these TV shows where, you have, a couple that comes in and they're going to buy a home and they have a budget of like $900,000. Yeah. And she is like a yoga guru and he's like a life coach. And you're like, well, how the fuck did these two have a budget of $900,000? I know people that work at NASA that don't have a budget like that.
Their old Auntie Ingun died or something.
It's gotta be so. It's gotta be
pile of gold coins to them.
I guess so. But there's some of us, I don't know your past, but I know my past, and there's some of us that there's no inheritance down the line.
We don't have that. We don't have that, as Samuel L. Jackson called it in Jungle Fever, long money. We don't have long money.
We don't have long money. I like that term. We do not have long money. We barely have short money. I'm barely making it to, month after month.
I feel
and that's
like,
the Trautman way.
and my parents were solid middle class. My father was a cop. He retired after 20 some years, and my mother worked in the federal court system. So we were very solid middle class. Maybe you can even say upper middle class.
Yeah, I would say upper middle class.
But before them, my grandparents on both sides, there was no generational money there.
No.
So I do not expect any kind of
No.
inheritance when my mother goes. That's just not there. So we've always had this thing in our head, both me and Snoopy, that we have to stand on our own 2 feet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's not a jealousy thing, but I do see that other people that are making less money than she and I, and are younger, less well established, they're buying these homes.
Right.
I do believe it's the inheritance.
It's got to be. There's no other way, because I know I work
money.
3 fucking jobs and I can barely afford rent and
3?
food. Yes, sir. You know, I'm a painter, so I take my painting very seriously. I'm also a translator.
Can I say something about your painting? You guys, you need to go on johnallenpod.com, and then up on the menu it says Loyal Oak Artists. You need to go in there and look at Miss Tiffany's artwork.
I am so proud to be a part of the Loyal Oak Artists group.
She's fantastic, you guys. I can't even put words on it. I'm not going to try to put words on it. You guys just have to go and see what she's doing, and you will be captivated. If you want to commission her for any kind of work, get in touch with her or get in touch with me through johnislandpod.com.
I appreciate that plug. That was a shameless plug. Shameless plug. I appreciate that.
Hey, look, I believe in propping up the people that I care about.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what life is.
I appreciate that. Giving a leg up to your friends. And that's what the world should do.
I'm not going to buy you a house. I'm not going to do that.
God damn it. I was buttering you up. I thought I was buttering your ass up. No, you ain't going to buy me.
But I think that inheritance thing has a lot to say about, I don't know. I never really heard about inheritance back in the States, but over here in Norway, it's a big issue. Families split up over that kind of stuff. Yeah,
but that's because these families are like, they're old money if they have the money here. And, they were a poor country, like just 40, 50 years ago. Yeah. So when the money came in, it's still generational. They're still here. They're still alive.
Right.
Because what the big oil boom here in Norway happened in the 60s.
Middle 60s.
Yeah, come on. My parents were alive in the 60s. So that means that my parents would have that big oil money.
Right.
And, then maybe I might have gotten inheritance. But, however, Dad worked at a Jiffy Mart and my mom was a waitress. So
you are as you describe yourself, a grown-ass woman. Single, and you have yet to get into the housing market.
Right.
What's the solution for you? What's it going to take?
Apparently 12 years of saving. But the problem is with those years of saving, I have to do that while paying rent.
That's the thing. It's impossible.
It's impossible because the entrance level of payments to I'm probably going to have to take an internship somewhere. So I got to be an intern who doesn't make any fucking money. So that's at least another 2 years that I got being broke, and then I can start saving. I'm going to be 65 before I own my house, and that's scary. Just the generational thing that happens right now, and that's not how it used to be. By 65, I should have already saved a bunch of money to give my kid when I die. My son is also not going to inherit a fucking penny from me, probably.
But you know what? Mm-hmm. You're getting your education. You're going to be finished with that soon, and hopefully you will be able to to find work in the field that you're educated in.
Let's hope.
However, what do you think about? We talked about your art a couple minutes ago. You are extremely talented.
Oh, thank you.
What do you think about campaigning for yourself, putting yourself out there more than you do?
Yeah, I don't do
You've
that.
already had a celebrity quite recently.
I did.
The crazy doctor from Scrubs. What's his name? I'm sorry, I've forgotten his name.
His character name is Dr. Zeltzer.
Dr. Zeltzer from Scrubs.
Dr. Zeltzer on Scrubs.
One of my, I wish he would have had more time on because he was hilarious every time he showed up.
Yeah, he was. I loved his deadpan delivery.
Oh,
he was so fucking
perfect.
funny. But his real name is Bob Glendenin.
Bob Glendenin. Thank you.
And
he found your art on Twitter.
I posted it. I posted it, and he commented back that it was really, really good. And I was like, that's really nice.
So that kind of tells me that you have the potential to put yourself out there and get recognized, and then all of a sudden you've got that actor, actress, musician who has the funds and who is inclined to use funds on art.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, your name is getting spoken in those circles and you're getting commissioned. And there is your next level of income,
We'll
which can then
see.
change your relation to the housing market.
I know, but
what
I'd
do you think?
also-
Is that feasible?
It's feasible, but first of
Stop
all,
being so humble. Stop being so humble.
I'm not being humble, but it was really sweet of him to make that video, first of all, because he made the video that kind of propped me up a little bit.
Yes,
and
he
said
did.
He
yeah.
really liked my art.
It was a straight up endorsement of
Yeah,
your work.
it was.
Yeah.
It was really, really kind of him. And he's just a really, really sweet man. I think he is. He's a
He seems to be. He seems to be,
yeah, really sweet man. But I don't want to have to rely on famous people to.
But it's not relying on them. It's okay. There's a door and it's cracked open,
Right.
and one of them is on the other side looking through that crack in the door at you.
Right.
Why not open that door and step through?
Well, you know
and-
what? You know what?
That's what that is. It's not.
It
it's
is.
Not, it's not throwing all of your eggs in one basket.
No.
But it is. It's exploring, fully exploring an opportunity.
Well, it would be really nice if I had like one of my pieces hanging up in their home, and then maybe if they have a friend that
It could be an item
it's
that
into
they talk
art.
about, and then all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of foo-foo art people in California, right? I can imagine.
Sure.
So maybe some foo-foo snobby person can come in and go, oh, I like that. Maybe give her a holler. And that would be really, really nice.
Well, see, and that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That you explore those kind of, because I'm sure you don't want to wait till you're 65 before you own a house.
No, I would love to have
So
a house.
I'm just pointing that out as
It's an opportunity.
It's like what I'm doing with my podcast.
It's an opportunity.
I saw an opportunity with this, and I
Yeah.
took it, and I'm doing it.
Right.
You've got a bigger opportunity, what's potentially a much more lucrative opportunity.
You know what? It's not about the money.
But hold on now,
it
hold
needs
on.
to be.
well, hold on now. Okay, I'm an artist too, different kind of art.
Yeah.
But I'm an artist too, and I don't write songs. I don't perform music
Right.
for the money.
Right.
However, if that song that I've written or if that performance can be monetized
Why not?
with sincerity,
Right.
and it's not taking away from my artistic expression, it's not
Right.
getting in the way,
Yeah.
it's not my original motivation, why not?
I think that's what my big main block is by having the Hollywood folk or anybody like that, any super snooty artist. I don't want to like damage my my opportunities now, but
Well-
it terrifies me that they will tell me. I hear lots of stories about like musicians who suddenly made it. I remember going to high school with a drummer. Hey, Randy, with a drummer. He became the drummer for a very popular band with a few hits or whatever. And the next album that they made, their musical director or their manager or somebody told him how to make their art. And I didn't want that. I don't want that. I just want to fucking paint some shit. I just want to slap some art.
But aren't you afraid of something that hasn't happened to you yet?
Absolutely. That's what a phobia is. A phobia is being terrified of something that might happen, and through your own experiences or your own internal insecurities that you're afraid that somebody's going to tell you to do something that's not yourself. And I want to be myself in my art. And so when somebody asks me, can you paint a picture of this? I don't want to say that I want free reign, because I do paint from pictures. Send me a picture of your dog or send me a picture of your husband or something like that, and I'll be happy to paint them. But I want to be able to do it in my way and not be told, to make them skinnier
Absolutely.
or make them taller, or I want to paint them how they are. And I don't want to Photoshop people in their paintings. And I just want to make reality.
Right.
Yeah.
You want your perception of that subject
Right.
matter to be pure.
That's it. I want purity. So it's kind of hard. But right now I don't have painting really as a job. It's just
It's just what you do for.
it's a hobby.
because
And
you
then
love
when
it,
my friend, I don't have a website. I don't. Luckily, you put some of my stuff on your website, but I don't market myself or anything. It's just word of mouth, and somebody walks into a house and sees one of my paintings and goes, "Oh, that's really cool. Who did that? Oh, my girlfriend did. Here's her phone number." And that's how I've been doing
Yeah,
it.
don't get me wrong. I totally respect your artistic integrity. That's important. I have my artistic integrity as well.
Right.
I'm just open to the idea of people paying for it.
I know. No, I'm totally open for it because I need it. First of all, I paint with oils. Do you know how fucking expensive oil paintings are? Oil paint. And when I go to the store, I got to pay like
a little bit. And she talked about the price of all that.
The price of oils is going up, and especially depends on what kind of pigmentation you have in there. If you want cobalt blue, which is like fantastic. I love cobalt, but the cobalt in it, I guess it's mined on the back of slaves of children or something. I don't know it's probably awful. So it's probably ethically awful, but it's also super expensive. So it depends on the pigmentation of the oils, and I probably have to ask for, a few $100s as a down payment to start one because I need the canvas, just to finance materials.
Yeah, the canvas isn't cheap either.
No, and I get I paint to custom size. So if somebody wants like, a 101.5 by 302 and 3/4 painting that fits. So I do that. I buy a roll of canvas and I do it that way. So because it's all custom size and I fit to what your specifications are in the size range, but not necessarily in the art, what I'm doing. Yeah.
That's why you're so doggone cool. You have so much artistic integrity. You're not going to change your art for anything. Not even for a house. Apparently.
Not even for a house.
No, I just wanted to explore that for a second because I see it as a screaming opportunity for some finances.
Yeah, well, I guess there's a part of me that's
how good you are.
There's a huge part of me that also respects Bob, the actor. I don't want to use him. I think he's just a genuinely nice guy who did a nice video for me, and I just took that as an act of kindness. But I don't want to monetize on him because I think he's like a really down to earth good man, and it makes me feel icky inside to feel like I'm using him to get my career off the ground.
I asked a celebrity, he's a Norwegian celebrity musician, a couple of days ago, is to be a guest on my podcast.
Right.
And that's something that took me about 6 months to get the nerve to do it.
Right.
And this was like 3 or 4 days ago, and he hasn't answered yet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did I ruin the
vibe?
The vibe? Did I ruin the relationship there?
Yeah. But I don't think so.
Lesson learned.
It's only been 4 days, and listen, there's people.
You might be busy.
People are fucking busy.
On Messenger, you can see when people have seen the message.
Has he seen it?
He saw it almost.
Oh, okay.
I left it.
Then he's fucking ghosting you. He's totally fucking ghosted
honesty
you.
From Miss Tiffany. Tiffy Tuesday is all about brutal honesty.
Hey, man,
you can't get a house, give up until you're 65, and John, stop bothering celebrities.
John, stop bothering celebrities. You've been ghosted.
Oh, boy.
I come here and lay down the fucking hammer every time, John. But it's true. It's true. It's. I feel icky for.
It is uncomfortable. You don't want to abuse that contact.
I don't. Well, I don't. I don't want to say he's a friend. We're not. We're not super familiar. We've chatted like maybe 3 or 4 times or something, and I've made compliments about his family. He's made compliments about mine, and it's just been like friendly banter or whatever. But it's. I don't know. I feel weird riding on the backs of other people.
I totally get that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But in reality, that's how life goes. I mean, in order to, no man is an island, is what they say. So you have to get a leg up every once in a while. But I don't know if it's my childhood, my brainwashed, dramatic shit that happened.
We all have
I can't ask for help.
My baggage has kept me. Here I am talking all this mess, trying to be Mr. Motivator for you.
Mm-hmm.
But my baggage, my past and things I've experienced has held me back from, I don't know, from picking up on opportunities.
Right. And that's mine too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I get it.
I get it. It's just, it's a weird, icky feeling. First of all, there's a lot of pride in my family. So much pride. I left home when I was 16. I have never borrowed a single dollar from my parents, never asked for money, and never. It's just because that's what was kind of instilled in me is that, you're fucking on your own, chickie. It's one of those, the mama bird that kicks the baby bird out of the nest a little bit too early.
I was telling you earlier, I to the best of my knowledge, my mother may have some Spanish doubloons buried in the backyard, but to the best of my knowledge, there's no long family money there.
No, there's no long money.
But above and beyond that, I couldn't go back to Ma and say, Ma, can I borrow some? I did do that once when I came from when I came out of the Marines. How do I speak here? When I came out of the Marines,
you're discharged.
There was something. Yeah, discharged. Thank you.
Yes.
There was some. I don't remember the details. Something with my bank account that I was trying to transfer my bank account from that armed forces.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
To regular bank, and it was taking some time, and I had an opportunity to buy a car. So I said, "Ma, it costs $2,500. I'll have the money in a week."
Right.
I got the money in 2 days and paid her back.
Very
right
nice.
away.
That's
the only time. That's the only time I can in my adult life say that I.
But that was a leg up.
It was a leg up
because it was $2,500 for that car right then and there.
Right then and there. And well, I mean, I could have got something else, but
that was a good deal.
It was a good deal.
It was a good deal, and it would probably help you advance further because everybody has to start off small. Everybody gets the junker car. I remember what I had. I had a Nissan Pulsar. Everybody listen to this shit. It was a Nissan Pulsar. It was an 86 and a half model. Okay. This was back when they made half models. It was T-topped. It was fabulous. Okay. And even the lights, they went up and down. You know what I'm talking about? When you turn it on and the flippy lights. Yeah. I thought I was the sexiest shit in this thing. But it cost me $600.
Okay.
That should have been a cue that I was going to get stranded on I-95 with the fucking engine blowing out and stuff like that. So I bought my own first car, but it wasn't a payment to my future. It was a loss in money. I bought the car for $600. It ran for approximately maybe 2 months, and then now I'm out $600 and also don't have a car. So the $2,500 that you spent on the car, it could mean that you could sell it and still have some equity and move forward in life and keep stepping. But everything that I buy is so cheap that it breaks, and it's just a loss of money. And this is going to be the same thing about any house that I buy, or unless I get handy, which I don't know how to swing a hammer to save my fucking life.
Me neither. Snoop does all that.
All right, I'm gonna holler at Snoop whenever I get my own house.
I bake the cupcake. She swings the hammer.
That's it.
No, it's because once you buy that house, you're not finished.
You're not
finished with the expenses. There's the maintenance and renovation and all that.
And you have to renovate because you want to make money.
Especially if you buy a lower end house.
Right, low income house.
You've got to do those. Wow.
Yeah, so it's really fucking expensive before.
We got to get you in a house before 65. but in all seriousness, I don't see that as easy. If Snoop and I were just now starting out, I don't know how we could do it.
No.
We're in the market now, securely in the market.
Right.
But to start out at this day and age, I don't know how we could do it.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing. And I don't see too much hope for it. And this is going to be in the future. I think in my son's generation, he's 8, so I don't know what generation that is. Generation Z or
Are they Z?
I don't know. I don't know. L, M, and a P. I don't fucking know. I don't follow that shit. But he's in the generation that whenever he finally can afford to buy a house or go to buy a house, the disparity between the prices of housing, and because of the flippers that make them all fancy and make them all, we're gentrification and all that shit. By the time he graduates high school, the disparity between housing prices and your economy is going to be impossible. And I think it's going to create a new class of people. You have the middle class, you have upper middle class, you have lower middle class, you have poor. I'm in the poverty range. So, and then you're going to have something else. I think it's going to be, or does the poverty line go lower because now
that sounds
it's graded on a curve?
That sounds quite reasonable to think that it might turn out like that. Absolutely.
And it becomes a more disparity between the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of terrifying. That's why I was in the abyss of despair on my way here. I'm thinking, in the future is not looking good if I want a home.
Well, it has a sobering effect to think about.
It does.
That because it's not just you. You have your son.
Right. And not only that, but
do you fear for his?
Not only do I fear for his future. I don't feel fear. Because he's a smart kid and he'll figure it out. And, I know he will. But I feel a bit of disappointment in myself that I haven't changed our legacy, our family legacy.
But that's a good parent. A good parent will never be satisfied with the job that they are doing.
Right. I'm not feeling
You're always
satisfied.
Going to feel like you can do more. I feel that way with our two.
I'm busting my ass. Like I said, I'm doing 3 jobs. I'm going to college full time. I got my baby boy. I take care of him, make sure he's got lunch and everything.
So do you feel this? What does that do to you to feel like you need to change your family legacy?
It tells me that, right now it tells me that I know I'm trying. And I know my son sees that I'm fucking trying. He does see that because he does. Mom, you're always working. I'm like, listen, baby boy.
I see it.
Yeah.
You amaze me with everything you do.
But I'm also not a neglectful mom. I don't work when he's home, which is why I'm always working at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, doing translations for things and stuff. So I do it. I try to be a mom too. I want to be present because that's also a different part of the legacy that, I want to change. So I have changed some things of the legacy of my family, but it has not been with the finances. And it's not that I'm bad with finances. It's just that you have to have somewhere to start. And if you start from the ground, you're probably not going to make it in this day and age.
Oh, boy. I just want, you know what? I want to go put on my pajamas and just get under the covers and go to sleep. I can't think about this.
So here's Tiffy with your happy Tuesday news. You're all going to be homeless, and you're going to be.
But you know what? We're just talking true. We're talking
to realness. That's what I come here. I come and bring the hard truths. I come in here, but we can look on the upside, though. The upside is that there is no hope.
There's a certain amount of comfort in acknowledging the fact that there is
no hope. So we don't have that burden of the fantasy of maybe perhaps I'll have a yard and be able to plant roses one day. Just fuck all that shit. Just go to the pub.
If you had an optimal situation in your life,
right?
We're talking about housing. We're talking about work.
Right.
We're talking about level of success. What would it be? Can you put that into words?
You know what? You're asking me about my dream, is what you're asking me. Yeah. What is my dream life? Yeah. And I realize that my friend actually was joking with me about it. She's like, you don't really want much in life. And I don't. My dream is to have a house. There's a home with everything working, nothing leaking. It's like an actual livable home. Yeah. That I have a yard in because I love gardening. I miss gardening, and I rent, so I don't have a yard. And windows. Oh my God, windows! Because I live in a basement.
That's right.
I don't get any natural light in my home. It's been summer, and I still have to turn on the lights during the day. Like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I got to turn on the lights.
That curtain aside there behind you. If you want.
Look at that! Look at that fucking sunlight and air, and and you actually have a view. I don't have a view. My view is the underneath of the upstairs neighbor's porch.
I see.
So I see spiders and dust. So I miss natural lighting.
Yeah.
See, I don't ask for much. I just want a little bit of natural lighting and a roof over my head and a garden to garden with.
But when you get that, do you think you'll be satisfied? It's a bettering of your situation, but is it optimal? Again, optimal situation.
Optimal situation. Well, if I make it super optimal, it would be in a warm country.
Back to Florida?
No.
No desire to go back?
Yeah, there's a fight there. There's like an inner fight there because I do love Florida. People talk shit about Florida, but Florida is just a beautiful place where we live, where you vacation. We don't have to go super far to go have fun. We got all the theme parks there. I mean, as a kid, we took field trips in 5th grade to go to SeaWorld, because all of a sudden it's marine biology. So we had, growing up in Florida was just amazingly fun. The beach was 15 minutes down the road. And it's free, so it's free fun. So I do miss that part. I miss the sunshine, the suntan lotion, the margaritas and all that, but I don't love what's happening to Florida in these days and times, or to the United States, to be honest with you.
Florida's a weird place to me. But again, I've only been there once as a tourist, and then dozens of times work related.
Right.
And I don't know. It was just weird.
Depends on where you are.
Well, again. So I never have seen. I don't know. Florida's not that different from Ohio. You've got beaches. We have Lake Erie. There's beaches there.
Yeah, I guess. You can't really. Can you surf on Lake Erie? Are there waves? I can't imagine that there's waves on a lake.
I don't.
Unless it's like a nor'easter or something.
Well, yeah. There you go. Let me know, people, if you've ever surfed on Lake Erie.
I'll let you, girl.
I get crushingly homesick for Ohio.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. But now, I don't want to get political on this particular episode here. But yeah, now with the politics as it is, and
to move back home, as secure as Snoopy and I are here, to move back home and to try and get into the housing market back home, I don't know. I don't know how much more difficult that would be, but I think it would be too difficult,
I think so,
to consider. So as homesick as I am, I do not want to move back because I don't want to experience that starting over process. And the housing market, I mean, we've said a little bit about the differences,
right.
But it seems like there's more similarities in the housing markets here and back home in the States.
It's quite the same.
But I just have this impression that the housing market in the States is unstable.
Yes.
And it would scare me.
Yeah.
It would scare me to try and get started there.
I think so, especially in this political climate that we have going on in the States. It's completely fucked. It's absolutely nauseous to look at because it is unstable. It is, you don't know what's going to happen. And, with all these different, somebody gets a tax break here and the rich just keep getting richer and the poor just keep getting poorer in the States. The disparity between the two classes or the two sides, it's too unstable.
It just doesn't look good.
No.
From the outside looking in, it just doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't.
And I don't really want to, as homesick as I am, I don't want to get into that.
So I'm at the place in my heart where it's a nice place to visit, but I'm not really wanting to live there right now.
You're looking to be here.
No, let's not get all uppity about that bullshit either. I'm not trying to stay here neither.
No.
But what I was deciding was that I do want to go for my Norwegian citizenship. Because then I can keep, right now what they have is you can keep your American citizenship and get a dual citizenship as a Norwegian. And once I do that, then I can move anywhere.
I think I want to do that as well.
Yeah.
I have resisted that for years because of, to me, it's an identity issue.
Me too. But now
I am an American.
Yes, but now they are letting you keep your American passport.
That's
when you and
different.
I first moved here, you had to absolutely denounce your American citizenship if you wanted to become. I was not going to do that because I'm not going to lose my Americanness. I mean, I might be, pissed off at my country, but we ain't breaking up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not breaking up. We're just having a break. We were on a break.
You'll sleep on the couch, but you're still in the house.
We're still in the house. We'll begrudgingly have breakfast together and just look at each other from across the pond and just be like, motherfucker, what the fuck?
Oh, and
look at him just breathing in and out.
Sex will be awesome.
I hope so. When it comes, and when it does come, when I do go for a visit, it is makeup sex. I do my pub crawls with my friends, and I forget about politics because when I go home, I see my people. And even though there's a lot of us that don't agree on politics, over a pint of beer, we just remember who you used to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking about that whole thing about citizenship, because even now, when we can have dual citizenship, I have also resisted because of that identity thing, maybe identity/loyalty thing.
What is it about it that makes you feel like you're going to be disloyal? Because you're still going to be an American citizen. It's just you're going to have an extra citizenship. It's like, being a double dip cone. You know what I mean? Have a little cream in your coffee.
I guess, yeah, but
still coffee.
It might be that thing where I've heard too many Norwegians talk that BS about how if you're not blonde-haired, blue-eyed with 10 generations in Norway, you're not Norwegian.
Right.
So it's like, okay, screw you then.
Well, then, but here.
I don't want to be,
But let me flip that script for you, though.
Flip it.
I'll flip it for you, baby. Because, you think that whenever you go get your Norwegian citizenship, that Norwegians are going to look at you and go, well, you're not Norwegian enough.
Well, I know they won't do that because.
Fuck that, they will.
Well,
they absolutely will.
I can say this. Most of the people that I have anything to do with, whether it's friends or work relationships, they just assume that I am a Norwegian citizen.
Really?
People are shocked when I tell them I'm not.
Really?
Really.
You being a giant-ass black man, they're shocked that you're not a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Norwegian.
They think that I have, I don't know, they may have their narrative about how they think I came to Norway. Right. But they always assume I am a Norwegian citizen.
That's funny. Maybe because of the way you speak Norwegian. You speak it very...
That could be
You speak it very fluently in the dialect that you speak it.
That could be it.
I think so. But you
Okay.
speak in a really funky ass dialect because you speak North Norwegian and I am used to Southeastern Norwegian. So we speak different dialects. But whenever I speak Norwegian, people think I'm from Spain for some reason. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I've been to Spain like one time. I was like, they think I'm Spanish and I don't look Spanish at all.
No, you don't.
At all. So
Interesting.
it's very strange. Yeah. Maybe it's my accent. I don't know.
So that citizenship thing, you know, I don't know. Maybe I need to commit to that. And
well, I was going to flip it for you. That was the whole thing. I was going to flip it for you because you were worried about Norwegians not thinking that you were Norwegian enough. Maybe, perhaps, you know, because you're not 10 generations deep of blonde hair, blue eyed Viking, Valkyrie blood, or whatever the fuck that shit is. But flip the script on that, and that's how I'm thinking of it. I'm going, well, fuck you. I don't need to be Norwegian to have your piece of paper that lets me move to Portugal. I don't want to fucking be here anyway.
Good point.
You know,
Good
so
point.
I'm just using you. You think you're just using me for my tax money? Well, fuck you. I'm just using you to get the fuck out of here.
Good point.
I mean, I love you, Norway. I do love Norway. I do. I just live in a tiny village, and it's just killing me.
I think I have an interesting. It's a dynamic relationship with Norway because I'm doing fine.
Yeah, you are.
Things are okay.
You are. Yeah,
but there sure is a lot missing.
Yeah,
and I sure do get reminded daily that I am not Norwegian.
Yes, daily,
and that's tiring.
But you know what? It's tiring, but it's been for me these past 13 years. It's been eye-opening. It's been insightful because listen, I'm a white girl, right? I'm a white girl. I mean, I'm not blonde hair, blue eyes, but I'm a white girl. And, you know, coming from Florida, you know, I was just accepted as somebody. I didn't have any kind of minority shundown. But also, if you think about, I do remember the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans, and especially the Puerto Ricans. They are American citizens, but they were never treated as such in Florida, where I'm from. They're like, fucking speak English and stuff. How many times have somebody, when you first moved here, probably not anymore, but how many times did you have somebody say, fucking speak Norwegian, you need to integrate yourself in this country. If you're going to live here, speak the language. It made me now understand what immigrants in the States go through.
Sure.
And not only that, but even immigrants who were born here, but then they have their friends and they just happen to be speaking Spanish to each other because why are they going to speak English when their native language is Spanish? I go through the same thing here. Like I'm talking to you in English here in Norway.
Yeah.
Imagine us going out to a cafe and chatting in English and somebody walks by and goes, "Snack norsk for fun."
I've had some people, maybe not that strongly, but some people have addressed me speaking English with my wife and my kids.
Yeah, who's going to tell you what language you can speak to your own family?
And then I'll just switch over to...
I don't.
No, I'll switch over in order to tell them off.
Okay, good.
You know,
yes.
And then they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And that happened once at a parking in a parking lot, the parking meter.
Right.
There was a long line of people. Some kind of function. What was that? Was it? Some function for, maybe it was a theater thing for our daughter. And there's like 15, 20 people lined up. And Norwegians don't know how to line up.
No, they don't know how to queue up. Oh, fucking A.
So I'm standing in line, and then I perceived it to be my turn.
Right.
So I go to step up to the parking automat, and I had been standing. My son was with me in line, and we were talking in English. I always speak English with my kids. And apparently this guy, this jackwad behind me, thought it was his. He wasn't really behind me. He was like in one of the other lines.
Right, whatever line they created.
He thought it was his turn.
Right.
So he says in Norwegian, "Oh, look at this immigrant idiot.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to line up." And then somebody said, "Well, tell him it's not his turn." And then the guy says, "Yeah, well," in Norwegian, of course, he says, "Well, that won't do any good because he doesn't speak Norwegian."
Oh, there you go. That's your entrance.
That was my entrance.
That's got to be the entrance.
That was because at that point, see, a lot of that stuff I ignore because I try to avoid the conflict.
Yeah.
But
we're
at
opposites
that
way.
point, my son is standing there.
Yeah.
And it was a teaching moment.
It's a teaching moment.
For my son.
Absolutely.
So I addressed it. And like I say, very often I can ignore those kind of things, but I couldn't ignore that there. And there was that it's almost a a special Norwegian brand of xenophobia.
Yeah, it is.
And for the Norwegians who are listening, if you're getting upset about this, then stop. Because I'm just speaking the truth here. This is my
This is our experience. Yeah.
There's this fear, there's this xenophobia that said that I just don't understand.
No.
There's only about 5 or 6% immigrants in this country. It's not that, what are you afraid of?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but what are we going to do? Rise up? And if we do rise up, why are we rising up? Stop and have a little bit of insight. What are we pissed off about?
So to wrap this up, what are you going to do? Do you have a concrete plan about getting into the housing market?
I absolutely do not. I mean, I don't know what the future holds for me whatsoever.
That's the thing. It seems impossible.
But you know what? I want your listeners to go on johnallenpod.com because like, listen, I didn't grow up learning about the housing market because in my lifetime, like I said, I'm come from a poor family. I never believed I was ever going to have a home. And then one day I was like, fuck it. I got a dream. I'm going to fight for it. So I go to college, try to get a good job. I want to do it. I want to break that legacy. How? To your listeners, how can I break that legacy being somebody who has no inheritance, who has no savings whatsoever, who is drowning in student debt? Where do I start off?
Give us some advice, people.
Give us some advice. Any economics, professors, any realtors out there who have a good idea, whether it be in Norway or, like I said, I'm going to get my Norwegian citizenship so I can move to Portugal, I can move to England, I can move somewhere else. Give me advice in your country because you have listeners all over the world. How the fuck do I start? Where do I start? What should I start thinking about whenever I want to save up as an older woman? I won't say old, but let's just say I'm middle-aged-ish.
She's not older than me, people.
I'm not.
She says older, I just want to slap her.
I'm Gen X. Okay, but I'm an adult. I'm an adult who, by normal social standards, I should have already owned my first home. Should already have that yard. Should already have the 2.5 kids. Blah blah blah.
See, we lost a step when we moved here.
We did.
Because that is literally dropping everything,
every support system, dropping your entire credit score because I'm starting from absolutely no credit. I'm starting from absolute scratch at my age to try to start to get a home for my kid. I want to break that legacy.
Give you some advice on raising your credit score.
I didn't even know we have credit scores here in Norway. I know nothing about that.
It's not as
numeric, I don't think.
It's different than it is back in the States. But here's one thing you can do if you have a MasterCard.
Unfortunately, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Here's what you do, but you have to have discipline. I buy all of my diesel.
Right.
For my car, all of it goes on that credit card.
Right. And
I just pay it off every month. That alone will affect your credit score.
I had no idea we even had credit scores over here, to be honest, like proper credit scores. I know that whenever I get like a new phone or something like that, they'll send me something in the mail and say, we checked your credit and it was fine.
Well, there you go. That's your credit score. Yeah.
My credit score was fine.
Yeah. If you're going to go buy a new iPhone at Elkjøp or something like that, then that's what they do. They run a credit score. But eventually when it comes time to applying for that house loan, when that time comes, they want to be able to see that at the very least you pay your gas every month off of that credit card. You have a history.
Well, I think I got I think I graduate next year, 2021. Whoop, whoop, class of 2021. And I'm going to get probably an internship, which will barely pay my rent and what I'm doing right now, basically struggling. But maybe this time I'll only have one job instead of 3 to pay those bills. That's the
how long do you think you'll be in an internship?
Is that
a year-long thing?
It's about a year long, yeah. So then I got that, and then I'll be, in my 40s. Chugging along trying to save money, and that means according to the National Association of Realtors I get another 12 years to save up for just the 20% down payment.
So scary.
And then I still have 80% to pay. So if I'm like in my 50s and I just get a 30-year loan on a house, will they sell a 30-year loan on a house to somebody who's almost 50, 60, who won't live to be 90 years old? So I won't even finish paying. The bank knows I'm not going to finish paying off that.
See, that's another thing. I'm 51. If I was not already in the housing market, I bet you that would be a factor. If I was a new home buyer, first-time buyer, I bet you my age would be a factor.
I think so, because you got to get
to the negative.
To the negative. It's not a benefit that you're older. Like, fuck, why are you buying a house with absolutely no equity? You saved up the 20%. And then You're not going to finish this 30-year loan, you old fart.
Market.
It's
a
brutal.
brutal system.
Life is brutal. The moral of the story today is life is brutal. You stand absolutely no chance for happiness. And happy Tuesday, everybody.
I love it. I love it. Should we wind it up with
Let's
that?
wind it up. Let's wrap it down.
So, yeah, we'll be crying.
Let's cry a river.
Crying the day out. And,
Tiffy brings all the happiness into your home every time I come in.
But thanks for. I think it was a great topic. These Tiffy Tuesdays are days where we talk about the things that you have on your mind, and this was yet another great topic.
And it's something to mull over, and also think about if you do have kids and stuff. I mean, you probably have to start saving some money for them to get them boost off, because people like us, who didn't get the money from mommy and daddy, I mean, we didn't stand a chance, which is what Americans should be proud of. Like, I started from the bottom and made my way, but those are the stories that you see in the newspaper because they're so fucking rare.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why not everybody can do that. Start from the bottom and become a millionaire. No, not everybody can be Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or anything like that. That's why we have so much news on Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos.
Those guys.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the moral of the story. That's
the moral of the story for this Tiffy Tuesday. Well, thanks for bringing this. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Tiffy.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.